Hello.
Hello!
I'm Callum.
And I am Lorene's big fake acrylic nails.
And that's Nick. And this is That's Eurovision, baby. Lovely. Oh, Nick, we have been through a grey and wet March, have we not?
We've been through the trenches a little bit.
So we woke up this morning. It's a weekend. The weather is perfect outside. It is a beautiful and warm day.
So you know what I said? I said,
let's lock ourselves indoors. Turn the lights. Turn the blinds. Close the blinds. Turn the lights on.
and pour a champers. And that's cheers to Eurovision.
We were feeling in our little resort mood, so we got our tropical shirts. I made a little margarita. Nick said champagne is tropical, which you know what? Sometimes it is. The celebration of a holiday.
Exactly. Because you know what we can celebrate? We can celebrate another week down between now and Eurovision.
That's true. Oh, love that.
Always on
Write
brand.
that down.
Yeah.
So today's episode is a continuation of our How to Win Eurovision series.
Part 2.
In brackets, sort of win Eurovision. So if you haven't watched part 1, go back and watch it. The gist is we are talking about all the countries in alphabetical order, and we're giving advice on what we'd love to see them take to the main stage, what we'd like to see them change, what we'd love to see them keep.
And more importantly, a complete and direct plan of everything that they need to do to take home the crystal microphone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We've got a blossoming community coming, and we want you to come along for the ride.
If you're a Latvia stan, get on board
Very
now
much,
because the train she's a running.
So yes, if you're liking our content, please give it a like, give it a subscribe. I know it's a bit, everyone says it, but do you know why? Because it's important.
Exactly. And you know what? If you hate our content, that's fine. I'm getting really good at ignoring that now. So
blocking out the haters.
Exactly. It's still engagement. Still works.
So we did 6 countries last episode. We're going to do another 6 today. We're going to be talking about Croatia, Cyprus, Czechia, Denmark, Estonia, and Finland. Whew. So we'll be going through their songs, not reacting to the songs, not saying what we love about them. We've already done that. So if you haven't watched our reactions to the national finals,
well, boy, have we got videos
go
for
watch
you.
Them.
Check them out on the channel.
No, this is strictly us talking about how we feel like they can do everything they can, how they can optimize their performance to win the competition.
Yeah. We're talking about song. We're talking about staging. We're talking about likability.
Talking about vibe.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about generalized vibe. We're talking just about the little touch points and bits and pieces.
The winner equity. Yeah. We said it. We're going to say it every episode. All songs are not created equally. Yeah. Some of these songs we're talking about how they win. Some of these songs we're talking about how they qualify. And some of these songs talking about how they go home with their head held high.
Yeah, we're just talking about how not to shit the bed on the night. Really.
Exactly.
So with that being said, we might jump into the first song of part 2, which brings us to Croatia.
Yes.
Which is Marko Bosniak's Poison Cake.
Yes. So, let's talk about it. So we have a music video and we have a live performance, which is really, I love when we get both because we can compare and contrast sort of what they're potentially going to be like on the actual night from the live vocal, but also what the intent of the song and the staging is with production behind them.
So I think firstly talking about where they are in the semi-finals.
Yes.
So we find Croatia in semi-final 1 in between the Netherlands and host country Switzerland.
More importantly, they're going 14th. They're the third last country. This is a fantastic spot to be in. If this back half is great.
And I also think it's quite an energetic song sandwiched in between two songs that are like a bit more like a ballady dramatic.
Croatia's kind of low-key done very well in this draw. Like for a song that we're sort of, it's in the conversation of probably not going to qualify, just by chance alone, they have drawn a very good spot. So already, this is a good sign for them.
So what do you want to see from the song? So I think let's start with the song and we'll talk about what we want to see on the stage.
Look, I think when we talk about the live version of the song, I do think a lot of the bombasticness is toned down. I think it was just a bad mix. The music wasn't as loud as it could have been. Marko's vocals started off really strong in the live version. It's just the second half of the song it really took a turn.
Oh yeah.
So what I'd love to see is, and I'm sure he's already practicing it, but tighten up that scream at the end and also pump up the guitar, that sort of crunchy factor, because I think that's what makes the song unique, is that that growl in it.
Yeah, I completely agree, because I think that like what we saw, I think from the music video versus the live final performance is probably a lot closer to what I hope that we will see on the day.
Yes,
because I think
agreed.
The sound mix was a lot better. I think we've seen vocal improvement already, because we've seen.
Well, he's a great singer outside of the song. Like we've seen some of his other stuff. It's great.
If you haven't tuned in to any of the A Little Bit More or whatever the series is called, so Eurovision usually takes a lot of the artists and they do covers or they do versions of their own song, and they just a little bit, and they perform a little bit extra, just a little bit, a little bit
extra,
a little bit Eurovision. So we've seen some performances in that were really, really strong, I think. So I'm hoping that we see a bit more of that on the stage. My other commentary was for the cutesy part of the song.
Scrap it.
I disagree. So this could go one of two ways. I think either scrap it, or I want to see them ham it up even more. Like, it needs to be like stupidly cutesy.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I've actually got as one of my notes very much that. Either lean into the sort of hyperpop 100 gex element of it all. Be stupid in a fun way. Be irreverent with it. Be this kind of like that sort of like anime character almost. That's like very cutesy and fun, and then all of a sudden
a little bit kawaii.
Yeah, a bit kawaii. Or
cut it.
Obviously it's going to be in the song, but take a different route and go kind of his serious, because what I liked, and we'll transition to staging actually, unless you have any more notes for like production.
No, so my main note from this was, because obviously we've done a little bit of watching and a little bit of research on the songs as part of this. I'm actually a lot hotter on this song than I was watching the music video and watching some of his other live performances. I think the national final was just a rough night.
Croatia
so I think
may
opportunity
luck into a qualification just because of where they're landing in the semi-final. But talking about staging, so just when we're talking about, you can either go full anime. The other angle I was thinking you could take is go like the music video and go kind of like witch's brew, like you're in an enchanted forest, and then you're sort of like tasty can be like, it's a little bit more relevant to like I'm brewing a potion sort of thing. I referenced Ockman's river staging, maybe without the visual effects, but the idea of it being a bit swamp witchy could be kind of cool for this song.
I think I had a very similar idea, because basically my thing was like the bakery motif that they had in the national final. I hated.
That needs to go.
Also, if nothing else for the bakery motif, I think that there were cute moments, but the dancers, why were the dancers so far away from him at all times? It was odd. I completely agree. I think that bringing in a lot more of the elements from the music video, which was swampy,
enchanted forest,
like
swamp witch,
Macbeth, like witches of the.
What
witches
about?
of Hemwick.
Okay, hear me out. What about like a Hansel and Gretel vibe, right?
Give me Bloodborne.
But like with Hansel and Gretel, for example, we'll come back to the Bloodborne. But what with Hansel and Gretel, like think about the kind of story of like cooking the children, like the poison cake, like being the sort of host. Come into my little lair.
I'm coming up with this on the fly. He's in a gingerbread house.
Yeah.
I love this. Like the full
witchy.
Hansel and Gretel
It's witchy
vibe.
fairy tale, which I think ties the elements of the sort of the fun elements of the song with the darker elements. I think that like dark twisted fairy tale would work so much better than the cooking mama realness we got on the stage.
I completely agree. Another idea that I had for some of the staging on this is, because I know I've been told that you can't bring liquids and things and make a mess. So potentially, if the Russians can get away with baking a bit of bread on stage or baking some cookies, I would love to see Marco bring just a little cupcake with a candle on it. And like as it's doing that, like the pre-chorus build in that dun, 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 dun. I'd love to see it like get progressively closer and closer in on him, blows out the candle.
That's cool.
Lights go, and then like explosion of like
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I'd kind of love to see that, because I feel like it gives me, not to say it again, but I feel like it gives me a little bit of that, like the way that Bambi Thugs staging last year used a bit of like light and manipulation and like the candles and stuff. I know, I'm sorry,
Bambi Thugs.
I wish I could. Love you, Bambi.
So closing thoughts is, I think the key thing for this song is obviously Marco needs to improve vocals, but I think this song has to understand either lean into the whimsical or lean into the witchy. Don't straddle the two. And I think the performance in the Croatian final felt like it was straddling the two in a way that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
And again, this is for it to qualify, not to win. So like we need to tighten things up if we want to get to the final.
Exactly. It was a little bit too cutesy to be mysterious and sexy, and it was a little bit too mysterious and sexy to be cutesy.
Correct. So moving on
Speaking
now.
Sexy,
yes. Well,
speaking of sexy and mysterious,
we're moving on to
Cyprus.
Theo Evan. Yeah, I was hoping you'd do a bit of ASMR.
Who am I?
I don't even know. Anyway,
It's a riddle.
It is a riddle. Look, so my initial thoughts is, so this is a music video only presentation, so we don't really know vocally how Theo was going to perform live. So there's a wild card there. I think that there is an element of him needing to perform it well because he has a lot of notes to hit. This isn't like a Gojo Milkshake Man where he can just sing in his like lower tone. He's got to hit notes. And
but as of course we do know, Gojo has the voice of Celine Dion mixed with Mariah Carey, so he's just not letting us know yet.
I think with Theo too is we're obviously going to get choreo and like, you know, a bit of oomph. So breath control is really important for him. He needs to be able to hit a note and dance at the same time. We've seen what happens when artists aren't able to achieve that. It really affects them, and it probably makes Cyprus risk not qualifying. However,
closing out semi-final one.
So if we're talking about an advantageous position.
And if we're talking about, so that can, I think that will set a lot of your expectation and our expectation of the fact that we are probably going to see a very upbeat and dynamic performance. So we'll be very interested to see how that goes.
Cyprus also has Sergio as the stage designer, which is another massive plus for them.
Do you mean Bambi Thug stage designer?
Yes, Bambi Thug. Reference number 2. We'll have a Bambi Thug count.
Yes.
So coming last with Sergio, is a huge, like it's implying to me that something in the staging is going to be a bit mind blowing. So that's exciting, and I think this song, people are kind of negative on it, and I understand why. I think this song has major potential to qualify if the staging is insane.
So for me, the song, honestly, every time I listen to it, it's growing on me more. I think maybe I've been a bit...
Well, I think it's me too, because I have been high... Look, it was 20 in my countdown, but I think like I've always been a bit higher in the song because I find that chorus like super earwormy.
I still think that the lyrics in the verse are a bit naff. Can't work around that really. Could we do it in Greek instead? Because I think the main issue that I have with it is that like it's a bit cheesy and a bit like dorky, whereas I feel like doing it not in English, I actually think could be really cool. That's just a thought.
It's a thought. Look, I'm gonna ruin your dream right now. That ain't happening.
Oh, well, that's all right.
This song is going to be. This song is English.
Yeah.
I'd love to see something like that, but I can't see that being a thing.
And my other commentary on this song is, I think that we need to see Theo Evan participate in a bit more. Like in the Eurovision a bit more, like the extras.
Just a little bit. A little bit extra. Every time.
That one.
Every time now.
And next time I go for the extra, you're going to go for it.
Literally.
But I think that could be really strong because I think that we need to build a bit of investment in Theo as a performer.
Yeah, he still feels a bit of an enigma, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a bit anon. But for the staging,
I think... I don't know. I feel like staging's going to wow us and probably going to be completely separate to what even we're thinking.
I do very much have faith that this performance is going to be big.
Paint me a picture. What do you see? What do you see in Basel right now in your mind's eye?
So, what I could see for this, I would really love to see like a Caria style staging, like almost like breaking out of the box, but the box is on fire this time to bring in a bit of that element of the music video. Obviously, OH&S with that.
Why is it in a box though?
Because I just feel like because I'm thinking about the hotel room with him like running around the hallways and just sort of that like close, like the steady cam follow. Like I just feel like you could do so much cool stuff in that like sort of confined space. And then I think it also gives him the opportunity, like he does in the music video where he comes through the door and he's now in like the wide open space in the desert, to like break out of the box or whatever it might be. I feel like it would be really good if there was like a central like anchoring element on the stage that a lot of the performance happens around. I think that we'll see the anonymous background dancers, the masked background dancers. I think that the choreo is good. Like I think the choreo that we've seen is like...
I think it'll be elevated. I can see him and like a triangle of dancers doing some really tight choreo that's like really, really cool.
I do think that like the more that I'm listening to this song and the more that we're getting closer to having the staging assembled, I think on the day by a very accomplished stage designer, I think that maybe I was not hot on this, but I have a feeling that we will actually end up seeing this
don't be
qualifying.
surprised if Cyprus qualifies, is what I'm going to say. So
especially in the spot that they're in.
Yeah. So I have two key ideas that I think, maybe I'll predict it. I don't think I'm going to. So one would be the chessboard in the music video. It's a bit cringe, but it would be kind of cool if it was Theo and some like masked person doing a cool bit of like contemporary choreo like around the chessboard.
We've seen where chess gets you. R.I.P. Luna.
We won't be fucking the chess pieces, okay? So like, just making that clear.
Just if you're doing chess, don't do latex chess. Would be not a suggestion I ever thought I'd have to give out.
We're not trying to make chess sexy. My other thought is, do you know the rotating stage that Billie Eilish performed in the SNL final? Oh, no, the SNL when she performed. So it was a stage that was on a mechanism that physically rotated, but the camera was rotating with it. So it looked like Billie was always the right way up as like things were going upside down. But and now she's on the ceiling. It was really cool optical illusion. Cool. My thought is borrow from that and create like a hallway effect that rotates as Theo, and it looks like he's kind of walking along the doors, and now he's walking on the ceiling. A bit. Do you think No Tears Left to Cry, Ariana Grande?
Do you think that's a bit too close to what we saw from Ollie Alexander last year? Because I think it was like a very...
Ollie's didn't move though. Ollie's was like the camera moved to create the illusion. Yeah, I'm saying the actual rig.
Yeah, but remember how the dancers were like flying around the stage and that sort of thing?
No, yeah, I know, but I'm saying like they were doing it as an illusion. Okay. I'm saying we have a physical rig that's rotating. Yeah. So, and it's not backup dancers, it's him. And I think this is only done for a verse in like the hallway scene. And I really like your idea of opening a door at the end and coming out on the stage. Other than that, like, I don't know. I'm really intrigued by this. I think it needs great choreo. It needs to tell some sort of story. And I think if we can remove some of the like kind of cringe elements that I definitely like, I don't like the mask. I find that really tacky. I don't like the constant, like, it doesn't. But yeah, I think I'm more optimistic for Cyprus than I was. I think this song and Croatia actually have both majorly benefited from a running slot.
Yeah.
I think if these songs were prior to other songs, they would have a much harder time for qualifying. But I think if they make these right improvements, they're going to be as good as they can to qualify. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So then, of course, next we have Czechia. So we have Adonks. With Kiss Kiss Goodbye.
Don't have to act like it's dying. Just tonight I'm gonna give you my...
Oh, love. So, Czechia.
Yes.
In semi-final 2.
Yes.
In between Denmark and Luxembourg.
Oh, okay. Quite a good spot for number 12.
Towards the end. I think a really good spot for Czechia.
Yeah, because...
because, admittedly, this is a stacked as shit semi-final, so it was hard to find a good spot.
It's also funny when you see in semi-final 1 how many men are in it. If you look at the lineup for semi-final 2, Malta, Georgia, France, Denmark,
Did
Luxembourg.
You say serving final 2?
Yeah. Malta, Georgia, France, Denmark, Luxembourg, Israel, Germany are all female-led songs.
Finland, Montenegro.
No, but what I'm saying is if you look at row where Czechia lies in the middle of Malta, Georgia, France, Denmark, and then afterwards Luxembourg, Israel, Germany. They're all female. So Czechia is going to stand out just by his deep voice, basically.
Being a hot man in the lady slots.
So, it's not the lady slot. No.
Sorry. I apologize.
Oh my God.
That was not what I meant. That was not what I apologize that came out of my mouth. I'm so sorry.
A hot man in the lady slots?
Oh.
Well, goodbye, audience. It was fun. We were getting somewhere, and now we've been banned.
I'm so glad that we finally moved out of Eurovision and we moved into the heterosexual audience.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on from that. What are your thoughts on Czechia from that production perspective? We saw a live performance in the Maltese final, this kind of unplugged version, which was kind of the song anyway. But what were you getting from him?
So, I actually preferred the acoustic version. I prefer the acoustic version because I think that, like, let's be real, it's not like it was an acoustic version. It had, like, half of it was the acoustic version.
Half of it was just the original song.
But I think that, honestly, having that bit there, it gave a bit of that light and shade. It gave a little bit of space for the song to grow. I thought it was really cool. My thoughts on the song that we saw from the Maltese final, my suggestion would be some of the, like, when he's doing the pre-chorus, there's, like, a bit of, like, hey, go from this he goes from really low to really high, and I think that that's going to be very fatiguing on his voice, and I think it's going to be really hard to hit both of those notes well. And the high bits were kind of just like a note or two, so I really think it would be strong to move those to a backing singer or into the backing track, because I think that he's gonna lose the raspiness and the rumbliness being like caught in between those two things. I think he's given himself a bit of a hard job with that, but I also would love nothing more on this earth than to remove the dance break. I think that it adds nothing to the song. Don't get me wrong, what we saw in the music video, the dancing itself is really cool, but it just feels so shoehorned into the song in a way that doesn't belong.
Are you aware of radical acceptance as a therapy term, Nick?
Yeah.
I think this may have to be one of those things where you have to radically accept you're not losing the dance break.
Yeah, I've radically accepted that the dance break is happening, but we're not about reality here on That's Eurovision, baby. We're about spinning dreams.
Fantasy.
Yeah, we're about spinning dreams.
Yes.
Which is why we'll see you in Tampere 2026.
It's not a dream, it's reality.
What do you think about the song?
Yeah, so I have a couple of not many notes on production. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about staging because I have an idea, and it's rogue, and it's probably not going to happen. It's just a vision I had. But I think the first verse should be the acoustic version, and I think it should be kind of arcade-like. Adonis on piano. Mm-hmm. Hear me out as a rogue visual concept. Imagine, because I was like, oh, we need something to happen to transfer into when the mix of the song kicks in. But like Pianos on Fire is so done. It's overdone. We don't need that. What if he's performing in like the ruin of a burnt down manor or something?
Oh, okay.
So it's like piano ash all over the ground, the chandeliers fallen, like drapes are kind of like moth-eaten.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's where I'm transported to in this song.
No, I kind of like it because don't forget as well that like from the music video there was like that time travel element.
Yeah, maybe
of it.
that's where I got elements of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this like it's like
that.
this sort of manor house that's been lost to time, and he's like in this dusty piano performing the first part, and then that first kiss goodbye, and then maybe through like lighting and stuff, like we can see stuff happening. Maybe we can have like the dancers come in and sort of they're all dressed appropriately. But I thought like
in their period pieces.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Adonis and the dancers being dressed kind of modernly, and it's a bit of a juxtaposition. It's sort of like walking through a memory as opposed to like trying to be a bit like Marie Antoinette. Like, no, it's more like walking through it. Sorry, the RuPaul.
Come on, Michelle Visage.
Yeah. That was just an idea I had, like charred outfits maybe, and then like maybe you could work the dance break into like, I don't know, you can't, it'd be cool if they could like kick up the ash and stuff, but again, we cannot do that. No mess. But yeah, and then I thought at the end, could you do something where the manor kind of catches on fire, or we have like, where it like rains with fire, that effect you do on stage? Like, something like that. So it looks like the whole thing's being let ablaze. So it's not the piano being lit on fire, it's the whole set itself. I think that'd be visually kind of really luxe. And I just feel like it's where I see the song if I was to make a music video in my head.
Ladies and gentlemen, a BFA at work. A Bachelor of Fine Arts is in the room with us.
The Bachelor of Fucking Annoying Opinions.
That one too.
Yeah.
I couldn't get more on board with your staging idea. I love that. Like, I agree. I think that there's something really nice about the light and the shade of like being on the piano at the start. I think it's really cool. I think it's very cute. I think it's very demure. I think it's very mindful. Cool. It's a bit cute. I really like it, and I think it gives him so much space to go. I'm really on board with your idea. I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
But I think that in terms of what we'll see from them, I think we'll see a pretty comfortable qualification.
I think this is very comfortable. I think, mark my words, Prague in the next 5 years is hosting Eurovision if they keep this up. Because even Aiko, I know she didn't qualify, fantastic.
Yeah. But I don't know how that didn't qualify.
Vesna, incredible. We are Domi, incredible. Like, they're on a streak. I think Czechia is on a really good path to see Prague host Eurovision soon.
Speaking of on a really good path, but maybe not getting all the way there, we have, of course, the wonderful Sissal Hallucination.
Denmark on a really good path right now.
Denmark on a really good path, except for all the...
Except for not qualifying in the 2020s.
They're on a really good path, but unfortunately they're on a really good path in like Rome, and they're going down a cobbled street, and they're on rollerblades. But they're out here putting their all into it.
They're really trying. Are they putting their all into it? I think that's half the issue. They're not putting their all into it at all.
They're putting... Someone in Denmark is at least putting 50 quid on this performance.
I'm going to say something very quick. We need to talk minimally about her singing and the production.
Yeah.
There is really no notes.
Yeah.
She delivered perfect vocals. Yeah. I have no concern about Cisal's vocals. The reason Denmark will not qualify is all down to
staging.
The absolute lack of staging. Yeah. So I think what we need to do is just talk about staging.
I completely agree. The song, vocals are flawless. Everything's fantastic. That microphone is on. I also thought that probably quite outstanding from a lot of the other national finals is that the sound mix was really good.
Yeah, no, Cisal belting and
So now let's move on to the real
let's rework. Let's workshop this.
The steak and potatoes.
Yes.
No wind from behind.
Wind, but in the right direction.
Yeah. Because Denmark's national final performance, that was blowing wind. That was not. Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
No masks on the dancers. No.
Yeah.
Stop.
Rework the entire backing dancer.
No thing. Leotard.
Yes.
In the bin.
Cisal has said, though, she loves her legs, she loves her hips, and she wants to show them off, and I completely support that. So I think an outfit that still shows her legs and her figure, but better.
I completely stan her, want and need to show her body, because
incredible.
The showing of the body was not the issue with that leotard, is that it was just completely unadorned, undetailed.
Yeah,
so basically,
underwhelming.
Like when it stopped at her legs, it just kind of looked like it was half an outfit.
Whereas
it looked like
you can do a choreo.
Skirt.
Yes, exactly. You can do a bodysuit with like leg reveal that is so beautiful, and I think so invest in that first and foremost. I'm just before we go into it, I just want to say one thing. Cisal has been very active on social media. We love her for it.
We adore Cisal.
She has reassured us that a lot is going to change, but there is only so much she can work within. So I'm getting the vibe that as much as we'd love to, and we will fantasize a perfect world for the staging, I do think that there are going to be limitations. So we can't be disappointed if Cisal doesn't bring an entire theatre's worth of production on the stage. Look, it sounds like she is restrained by what Denmark is willing to give them.
I just need to not see her put on a plinth with pockets full of sand. That's what I need.
That was my staging suggestion. Damn it.
I knew I should have read the notes before we started. So, what I want for the staging, I would love to see her in a dress or in like a cool jumpsuity sort of situation. Love for her to still show the leg. I want something that she can still move in, but that has a little bit more volume and drama.
We Will Rave, Colleen sort of vibe.
Just about to say, We Will Rave, like with the big,
those fuck off
with
boots.
The baby boots. I just want to see the big boots. I want to see something like big and dynamic, because I know that she's got it in her. I actually also really thought she did, when there was the sort of the bridgy breakdown, she did a little bit of floor work that I thought was really cool and engaging.
One of my notes was this would be a really good opportunity for that ceiling camera to capture her. She's doing some lying down choreo.
Oh, love that. Yep. What are you dreaming?
So, okay. I think actually this might sound a bit risky because there's so minimal staging. I don't think
pockets full of sand.
Damn it. I don't know. Pockets full of rocks this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put her in the water.
No, pockets full of those aquarium pebbles, those glass pebbles.
She just starts throwing them out in the audience like glitter. She's just
just those turquoise pebbles.
14 people hospitalized.
I'll make you hallucinate, bitch. Just throws in their temple.
She's just the hallucination.
Ninja stars.
The hallucination turns out internal bleeding. Yeah.
So it might be controversial because Denmark does not care about staging. I don't think Cisal should rely on a prop or a set. I think this song is not benefited by that. I actually think where the song benefits is in choreo and camera angles. So opening verse, where it's obviously we're setting up for something, I think close up on Cisal, close up on the face. It's sort of can't really see. I want smoke billowing on the stage. It's all a little bit, again, hallucination. I want it to feel foggy, right? And we're sort of zooming out, and I want it to be like the Steadicam guy. So they're tracking movement. Maybe you can see some dancers making shapes, but it's so foggy that they just look like almost outlines, right?
Yeah, and they also don't have masks on.
No masks, but it's almost like these amorphous figures that you can see sort of dancing in the fog, and it's just are they real? Are they fake? It's playing around with the hallucination theme without it being literal, because I hate literal staging.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that first chorus of halluc is, it's almost like she's reaching out beyond the camera as if there is like a lover or a lost love. Like but they're not there, or are they there? A bit of like doubt, you know.
I almost think as well, I reckon we could do like a little bit of like camera interaction as well. Like I would love to see her like sort of like grab the camera and like turn it on an angle
stuff
a
like
little
that.
bit. Sort of like a bit of like mind wonk.
Playing around with this idea of like a smoke machine and the cameras are provided. We don't need much there, but it's really interacting. And then that first chorus hits and we can sort of start seeing the dancers, get the smoke to blow away, get the wind machine on her. And then we start getting choreo in. And then I want the breakdown where that D&B sort of beat hits in. Lights go off, strobe lights as she's like, you know, dance is going a bit crazy. It's actually giving a bit Red Sebastian. And then Cecile is now on the ground. It's that overhead camera. And then that final belting chorus, she's standing up. It's almost like a wave is crashing over, like, you know, the effect of like her like belting is like wind and everything. And then I like the idea of like somehow resolving this storyline of like, was the person she was reaching for real or not? And it's not confirmed. It'd be so fucking tacky if like a man pops up and it's that Lithuanian song from 2018. Like, no, nothing like that. It's more like,
why'd you have to bring that up? Why'd you have to ruin my day?
It's more like, were they even ever real? And it leaves it up. But like that's
just a hallucination.
Exactly. This idea of like smoke creating like almost like a tempest, I think would be really effective for her and doesn't require a set or anything. And I think the final point I'll add, and I'll pass over to you, is in between all of that tight choreography. Cecile said she can dance. She obviously sprained her ankle, I believe, in the national final.
Diva.
She had some injury. So like prove us wrong and do the cuntiest choreo in between all these moments too. So
if you couldn't tell, Callum is clearly the more creative one of the two of us. And I could not agree with you more. I think that there's so much potential with this. And Denmark, it's okay. You don't have to spend a lot of money.
No,
it's
that literally is a smoke machine.
Yeah.
Maybe is it possible? I've never thought about this. To use wind machines on smoke machines to create like the effect
like
of
like it's a hurricane.
Yeah,
you absolutely can.
Do you remember 2015 Georgia? That woman was like, "I'm a warrior."
Yeah.
Do you remember there was a smoke machine malfunction and the whole stage was covered in smoke and you couldn't see her?
Yes,
I don't.
And everyone was like, "Oh, is she mysterious?" And they were like, "Oh no, she's choking."
I feel like we don't want that level of smoke.
Yeah.
But I feel like if there's a way you could whip up the smoke almost around her, so she's like controlling it, I think that would be very cool. And then the dancers in the smoke coming in and out, so it's like again this idea of hallucinations. Love that.
I expect big from Denmark this year. I expect big.
Look, I wish we were having the conversation of how can Denmark win Eurovision. We're having a conversation about how can Denmark qualify, and it's your top three, it's my top four. So like, it's sad to have this conversation, but it's also like, Denmark, you need to get your shit together. It's actually a joke at this point how little you care about your entries.
Exactly. But
justice for Saba.
Speaking of people that care very much about their entries, we move on to Estonia.
Do you know what I would love if your segue was just speaking of people?
Yeah.
And then you just jump to the next one.
Speaking of men.
The next artist is a person.
Yeah. Speaking of men, we have Tommy Cash, Espresso Macchiato for Estonia. So, we see this one in semi-final 1.
Yeah.
In between Slovenia and Spain, which, again, it's early. So, this is going 4th.
Yes.
But
Estonia's qualifying.
Estonia, like, I don't see a reality in which Estonia doesn't qualify. Do I like the song and think it should qualify for me on a personal perspective? I don't love it that much. But I think going after Slovenia and before Spain, I think that this is... I'm calling this the fan favorite spot. Because you've got Estonia and Spain, who I think are... There's
a lot of streams.
Violently beloved by their nations.
So... I think, and we'll talk about it with Slovenia, this song kind of kicks Slovenia out of qualification. But when we talk about Slovenia, I think Estonia is going to stand out because of what it has come before it. Production-wise...
Because also then you have Poland before that as well. So you're definitely in the fan phase.
Justina's the only woman in that first column that you can vote for. I think she's fine.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about Poland or Slovenia. We're talking about Estonia. So tell me, notes on production of the song... how Tommy Cash performs on stage. What do you vibe from him?
I fucking hate the verses.
Yes. But this isn't a reaction to the song.
No, I know. I love the chorus. I think that what could be really cool for this song is during the verses, which I don't like the lyricism of, but that's neither here nor there. There's instrumentation behind it. There's like a bit of guitar undertone. There's like trumpety or like saxophony sort of like elements underneath it. I want to hear those like really camped up because I feel like it's a silly song. So I feel like you want
a silly song.
It's just a silly little song. I feel like you really want to have like really punchy sort of instrumentals. And I think that honestly, like some of that musicality would, I think, really help. Other than that, like
there's not much to say production wise.
No.
The thing is, Tommy Cash is pretty seasoned as a performer.
Oh yeah.
So like I don't like the song, but he performs it well.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, he's gonna vocally sound like the recording. That's not an issue.
No.
I don't think I'd actually change anything about the production because I think the song.
I think the song is exactly what it's meant to be.
Exactly. Like it take it as a compliment or not. I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's more like the song is what it's trying to be.
Yeah. Whereas for the staging,
Yes.
so I'm going to say I think he actually nailed the staging
In the
music video. I think
100%.
So this is where I'm going to go on a little bit of a creative bend.
Yeah.
Sell
me your vision.
Yeah. I think that he absolutely nailed it in the music video. I think that the music video is camp and fun. I still don't know if I get the security guard element to it, but maybe I'm just lacking.
I want to get rid of the security guards. But I'll let you workshop.
Now, if you want to win this competition, Tommy Cash, and I think that you could probably do it. Obviously, he can't have two of himself on stage, so there will be someone who would be required to be the second person. If he managed to get Just or Karia to be that second person, I think, unfortunately, it would be over for every other country.
That's tacky fan service, though. I'm sorry.
The whole song is tacky fan service.
That's very true.
I'm just saying.
True.
Yeah, I'm just saying that he needs to play into it more because if he got one of those two who are very close friends and collaborators with him,
they're in the circle.
yeah, to be the alternate for him, I genuinely think that you would potentially see like
him winning the televote.
Like I could see it blowing the televote out of the water. I think it would get absolutely shit on by the jury still, but I think
not going to do well in the jury.
Now, I'm not saying that he's going to do that, but I'm just saying that if he were to do that, and I think it would be very possible. Because we already saw Karia in Estonia for the national final at his performance.
But we've never. Tell us in the comments if you guys have any recollection of Eurovision artists bringing a cameo person on stage, not to perform, not like a repeat performer, but just as like a staging cameo. I personally think it's a little bit too look down the camera and be like, look what I did. However, to your point, it is very Tommy Cash, right?
And I think that will appeal. I think the part of the song that already appeals to the fans, I think that would genuinely make them shit their pants.
I think Just, especially in that long blonde wig.
Oh, yeah.
People would lose their mind.
Just was the first one that I thought of, but I think Karia would be another very good option as well.
Wow. No, yeah. I hate it because it's a stunt and it's gimmicky, but again,
But tell me that it wouldn't work.
I think that you may have people find it a bit too... Like, people may be cynical towards it, but it's the Marmite song, right? People will love it.
The people that would be cynical towards that are the people that already don't like the song.
True.
Now, tell me your thoughts.
Not too much different. I would have the kind of 2 shades of brown be like a set that you've got. My thought is rather than bringing in like a cameo person, Tommy needs to do like he does in the music video and do the half and half drag. Bleach one half of his hair.
Miss Mister.
Do the full contact him one on the other, and then I don't really understand the alter ego because it still looks like him. It's just a little bit more emotional. I don't really understand that.
It's the nice one and the grumpy one.
Sure. So then so my thing is that like if it was me, I would not have any background dancers or security people. They piss me off. I would have the song start on the side that looks like Tommy Cash, and then suddenly he turns and it's his alter ego, and then he does his stupid little dance with his half, and then he just plays on this dialogue between A and B throughout the song. And I think that's really all you need. My other note was, again, copy the music video, have a cardboard box on the stage that he pops out of, like he does at the beginning of the music video. I think that's kind of stupid and fun.
Yeah, because I will say, like, the dancing that he does, something about the way that his joints move makes me like really uncomfortable, and I don't know why. But But I think that the dance has become, I'm not going to say iconic because I'm not going to use that word, but it's become iconic at this point, that he's going to have to bring that to the stage.
Yeah, honestly, we're not talking a lot about it, and I know it's not our favourite song, but it's not biased against Estonia. It's actually, dare I say, a compliment towards Tommy Cash. I think his vision, as much as I don't like it, is kind of...
His vision was designed to be annoying.
Enough. Yeah, the vision, though, I think is ready. Like, he could have technically... Like, I know people didn't like his staging at Istiklal, but I still think you could probably replicate that too. But yeah, there's not a lot to say because I think the song is about Tommy Cash just being Tommy Cash on stage. That's all it has to be.
Exactly.
And it will do well.
Now, speaking about not a lot to say... I've got a lot to say.
Our final song of the episode, but we're saving the best for last.
We have got Erika Wikman, Ikkome for Finland, closing semi-final 2. Which, to be fair, like, obviously we don't know exactly what will have changed between the national final performance, but if you saw that national final performance and if you didn't, where have you been? But if you saw that national final performance, that was ready to close like the grand final.
What it's telling me is also that obviously you pull a first half, second half slot. So, but what it's telling me is that no one is presented to the EBU a concept as like stadium ready as Erica's. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like, I do have a couple of production notes, to be fair.
So then let's start with the song.
So I think that the choruses in the national final, were too quiet. I want them to be loud as fuck. I want them to be earth-shattering so that Erica's kind of, when she's not singing it and dancing around it, it doesn't feel muted. It feels punchy.
I completely agree. So we actually watched a performance that she did on a show called Eva.
Yeah, I think it was a Dutch show.
Yeah, and if you listen to the version of that is presented, the backing track is so much louder. Ignore the performance on the stage because obviously she's on a very small sound stage on like a TV show, so she doesn't really have the space to do what she needs to do. But the backing track in that is the level that it needs to be on the Eurovision stage because it is fantastic and it's like a big punch in the head. Also, my note for the song: get the girl a working bloody in ear. Get the girl a working bloody in ear so she can hear herself.
The fact that you couldn't tell in her performance makes it even more special. My only other note for production is I really hope she does go for this. I'd love to see Erika trying to hit those notes at the end of the song.
Yeah,
because she's currently not. I don't mind it.
As in you think she's trying for it and not hitting it, or you think that she's like holding herself back from it?
I think she's either not willing to risk it, either saving it for Eurovision, doing it, or just waiting. But like, you know what I'm talking about. At the very end of the song, she hits a couple of notes that are like kind of whistled notes almost, and that final part's like. Yeah, I would love to see her sing that live. I don't know if it's just unfortunately her tone that took multiple takes in a studio to get, and live she can't take the risk. But I think I trust Erika enough to know that what she's going to give us is going to be because the performances that we've seen both at the national final and later on have just been just incredible. So then we move on to the staging. I mean, what do I change? Literally nothing.
Literally nothing, but minus. I think the big mic.
Yes.
I'm going back. If you watched our previous video on how to win for Australia, I'm bringing the rising from underneath the stage back.
I love that.
Because so if you go and watch the national final performance, there's a part of it just before the end bombastic part where she's like walking down the middle over grates as she's like walking, and then she walks herself back up and she gets on the microphone up the back. The camera pans away for a little minute while she does that. I want that microphone to come from underneath the stage. She walks herself up to the center of the stage and she just puts one leg out to the side. She is standing. That microphone rises up and drags her into the ground. The microphone stand that she was originally holding onto when she was doing the rocking and stuff is her hand hold so that she rises up on it and she's just screaming. And no dancers. I don't want to see no dancers. That woman has so much raw charisma that there is no need. It is a distraction. My only other comment, the flames that are coming out of that microphone, bigger.
And also They seem to not be on any beat or reference. Whenever I watch it, they always come at a random time, and I feel like there's so many moments of like.
I think it's meant to be when she hits the big.
Sure, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. So my note comes back to that too, because anyone who's watched the national final will probably agree that the moment that's the most distracting is when the camera cuts away as she's clearly being hooked onto the hanging mic, and so they needed something to cut to. And what they had at the time was just people in the crowd holding up Erica signs. Woo. And it lasts for a little bit too long. It's still impressive how quickly she managed to go from that shot to the microphone.
But she's also she's in the air at at a distance from the ground that's unachievable.
But also from where she was on the stage to getting on that in such a short time. But I really would love to see it more seamless. My suggestion is, because we're not changing anything about the staging, where she's stomping that runway, I want the camera to follow her, the Steadicam to follow her, and then she's clearly walking. I mean, I love your idea. I like the idea that they've rolled out the microphone as the camera's facing the audience. So she's stomping as they're rolling out the microphone, and then it follows her as she walks around this thing that the audience doesn't really understand what it is, but you hear a cheer because they know what it is. And my thought is maybe she just walks up a staircase to get onto it. But because the camera is kind of on this mid shot of her, it's almost like a bit of a forced perspective of like, oh shit, how'd she get onto the microphone this whole time?
So hear me out. Imagine that the microphone's sort of a bit flatter, and when she's stomping up the runway, it maybe it rises one half. It's on top of the stage, but it rises up one half, the front end, and she walks up the back of it.
Maybe Teresa.
Yeah, Teresa and Maria.
Where it's that ramp, but it's a microphone. That's cool.
Yeah, and because then she's on that stomp, but she's on
walking
the stomp
up the microphone.
And I think that and then all of a sudden maybe the fireworks go out the side instead.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
because the technical difficulty here is hanging a microphone, OH&S, you need to hook her on, and that's where the issue is. Is there a way to ground the microphone so it doesn't have to be hooked on? Is there a way to... I think if there's just some way to create an illusion, this seamless transition, then it's perfect staging. But even if there's not a way to do it, I still think this song is going to absolutely go bonkers.
Yeah, call us delusional if you want. Tell us we have terrible taste in music. Don't care, whatever.
And they have.
I still think that this song is going to win.
It's our winner pick.
I still think that this song is going to win. But that brings us...
Yeah, I had one more note, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry, babe.
No,
you go.
Just cut me off.
No. I mean,
to be fair, I'm leaving it on a note that's not even that important. I just thought, if you were to have background singers or dancers, I would love to have two, bodybuilder built men in, full shoulder pad power suits singing the Ik Kom Mes. So it gives the camera something to cut to so Erica can make transitions.
She can borrow Tommy Cash's security guards.
And the reason I would love this is just so it cuts to one of them going, Wunderbar. That's, I think that would be amazing. And also, my other note, best use of text as staging I think I've ever seen. I hate text to staging, except for this song.
Yeah. I think get rid of that background dancer. I would love nothing more than for it to just zoom into her face really close and do the wunderbar.
Yeah.
But in a really deep manly voice.
Yeah, she's lip syncing.
And it's just her lip syncing, and it's just ooh.
And oop. Anyway.
So
that is the end of part two.
So we have seen from the top, we have seen Croatia, Cyprus.
We've seen all of them, Diva.
Well, we've seen all of them. But today we've talked about Croatia, Cyprus, Czechia, Denmark, Estonia, and our winner, Finland. Thoughts and feelings to wrap up?
Thoughts and feelings is I think...
I have a really good feeling about this batch.
So... I think Croatia and Cyprus are really benefiting from a running order. That means that we could see one of the two of them or even both actually qualifying. I think, sadly, the biggest uphill battle of these six is probably Denmark, which outside of Finland is our favorite of the six songs. So it's a bit of a shame to see it. But again, they've presented so little that it doesn't fill us with hope.
I think at some point the Danish national broadcaster probably needs to take some responsibility for the fact that they can't keep saying, oh, we send rubbish because no one ever votes for us, but also we're gonna serve lukewarm lasagna.
Not the self-fulfilling prophecy of no one votes for us, so what's the point of trying? And then them not trying creates bad staging. But overall, though, it's a strong group of six songs, and I think that there is a world where all six actually qualify. And there's a world where I think 2 of them are in winner conversations.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
completely agree.
this is how they can win.
Yeah,
If they
exactly.
follow our advice, even though they've already submitted their staging, if they follow our advice.
Exactly. But the thing is, Callum, is that now all of them are in winner contention.
Exactly.
All of the songs that we've spoken about.
Six-way
today-
tie.
Exactly. All of the songs that we've spoken about are now within the grasp of the crystal microphone because we've given them everything that they need.
Exactly.
But if there's anything that we've missed, and I'm sure that there is.
Or if there's anything that you want to add, like, again, we'll say it every episode. Give us your imaginations.
Yeah.
Like, let it run wild. Give me a vision that we've never considered and paint us a picture.
Yeah.
Because I want to see what you would envision for a couple of these songs.
I want whatever bombastically stupid thoughts are trapped inside your head that you can't tell your friends and family because they'll lock you up in a mental asylum. I want to hear them.
So we can lock you up.
Exactly. So we can report you.
No,
'Cause that's at the end of the day, baby. That's engagement.
Yeah, like, we've all done it where we're listening to songs and we just see a music video pop into our head. Like, share it with us, because that's one of my... Yeah, I love that.
Because even sometimes you look at the staging and you just go, oh, well, why didn't they just do this?
Yes.
Like, that would have been so much better.
Completely.
Tell us about it.
Yes.
But above all else, we've had 6 songs today. We've got plenty more to go. And
Yes.
you know why?
Because that's Eurovision,
baby.
So don't forget to subscribe, please, and like this video if you enjoyed it. We've got another couple of episodes to go. This is like a mini series, so it's back to back until we lead up to Eurovision. But I think that's it for us.
That is it for us. We thank you very much for joining us.
And have a wonderful day.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.